Hello, I am Liana Lupas. I'm the librarian in charge of the scripture collection at the American Bible Society. It's been my job for the past 25 years, and it's been a wonderful job. Thank you for letting me share with you some of the books that I love. These 3 volumes make one complete English Bible. It's the first Catholic translation of the Bible into English. The New Testament was printed in Rheims, which is in France, in 1582. The 2 volumes of the Old Testament were printed in Douay, which is in Belgium, in 1609 and 1610. When Queen Elizabeth I acceded to the throne of England, it was the turn of the Catholics to be persecuted and the Protestants to be encouraged. The Protestants who had been in exile during Queen Mary's reign came back. The prominent Catholic clergy fled England and went into exile. At the time, in the late 16th century, the Netherlands belonged to Spain. And the King of Spain, Philip II in this case, opened a sort of university in Douay, which is in Belgium today. That's where the Catholic scholars fled when Elizabeth became Queen of England. And they started an English college in Douay, whose purpose was to train priests and to encourage resistance to the Protestant Church in England. They would train priests in Douay and send them secretly in England, where if they were caught, they were killed. The Catholic clergy understood that if they were to gain anything in fighting the Protestant, if they were to retain some credibility with the English people, they would have to have their own English translation of the Bible. The liturgy, in the Catholic liturgy, of course, all the readings were in Latin. But for study at home, they needed to provide an English translation of the scriptures. And that's what they decided to do. The person who was instrumental in doing this was Gregory Martin, a scholar who had been educated in Oxford and who was teaching Greek and Hebrew in Douay. He was a true scholar, he knew these languages, but when he started translating the Bible, he worked from the Latin text, or the Vulgate, because the Vulgate, the Latin text, was the official Bible of the Catholic Church. It's not that he didn't have access to the Greek or the Hebrew text. It's that he was bound to produce a translation based on the Latin text. And that's what he did. He was a very methodical person. He decided that he would translate 2 chapters of the Bible every day in, day out. And this allowed him to complete the translation of the entire Bible within 4 years. The New Testament was printed in 1582. What they wanted to do was not only print the text, but for each chapter provide a sort of commentary that would explain the text and that would ensure that people understood it the way the Catholic Church understood it. After printing the New Testament, they ran into financial troubles and they had to postpone the publication of the Old Testament. The preface to the Old Testament mentions the fact that it took almost 30 years for the printing of this project to resume. And they talk about our sad estate in banishment, which was really what had happened. Gregory Martin was dead by the time they started printing the Old Testament. The text was seen through the press by other members of his team. One of them was Barstow. One of them was Reynolds. And what I found so emotional about Reynolds was that he had a brother, John Reynolds. His brother worked on the King James translation. He contributed to the Catholic translation. His brother contributed to the Protestant translation. Because the translation was based primarily on the Latin text, it includes a number of words adopted from the Latin into English. What I'm trying to say is that the translation done by the Catholics at that point contributed to the introduction of a number of words of Latin origin into English. And these are words that we use every day. Examples: acquisition, character, victim, cooperate. These words were first used in English in the translation of the Catholic Bible. Of course, there are other words that were not retained. The Catholic translation made a real contribution to the development of the English language. It influenced the translators of the King James Bible, because any translation is based on the original text and on existing translations in modern languages. And this was true of the Catholic translation itself. This was true of the King James Bible, which borrowed some phrases and some words from the Catholic translation. Being the Bible of a persecuted minority, the Catholic translation was rarely reprinted. Practically, it was reprinted in Ireland. It was revised at some point in the 19th century by Bishop Challoner, and it was one of the first English Bibles printed in America.